Hi, I'm Professor Lynn Ritchey, and in this video we're going to look at diversity in our statuses and roles. Our statuses and roles help connect us to our groups, our organizations, our communities, and societies. They also help us to coordinate our behavior with others during interaction. Statuses are the positions that we hold in our group, and we can think of these as our job titles within society. Our roles are how we expect people who have a particular status to behave, and we can view these almost like our job description. All cultures have similar statuses. We can distinguish between ascribed and achieved statuses. Our ascribed statuses are statuses that society expects the individual not to change, except as determined by society. Ascribed statuses include biological sex, race or skin tone, ethnicity, disability, social economic status, age, religion, and family statuses. People who change or try to change ascribed statuses can receive negative social sanctions from society, like prejudice and discrimination. Our ascribed statuses can influence the achieved statuses that we are allowed to have in society and how people interact with us. We consider these to be our master statuses. Achieved statuses are statuses that society accepts can be changed by individuals. Society will expect efforts towards change in a particular direction. Our educational status, our occupational status, our group and organizational membership, our political status, our social class status, our marital status, our parental status, even our deviant statuses are considered achieved statuses, and health is an achieved status. Achieved statuses are acquired through our individual effort, our interests, our skills and abilities, and sometimes our luck. What are your ascribed statuses? What are your achieved statuses? How have your ascribed statuses helped or hindered your achieved statuses? In our interactions with others, we will use status symbols to identify the statuses of others. When I say status symbol, you probably imagine symbols associated with wealth, nice, luxurious cars, nice, big, luxurious homes, the newest and best fashion trends. All of those are associated with our social economic status. But every status we can have symbols that we associate with it. For example, if we look at differences in the way occupational statuses dress, we can see if we have individuals that are wearing a construction hat and safety vests and work boots, we can identify pretty well what occupational status they have. If we see an individual in front of a classroom with a whiteboard, we might automatically assume that they're an educator. If we see a person with a white coat, we might assume that they're a scientist or a medical doctor. So status symbols help us to identify the statuses of others, regardless of the status, okay? So think about that. How do you identify who is a sales clerk and who is a customer? What varies across cultures are the roles or the behavioral expectations associated with specific statuses. We are socialized into the roles associated with statuses, and child play helps us learn these roles. We can imagine what it's like to be a cop or a robber. We can imagine what it is to be a doctor or a patient. We can imagine what it is like to be a teacher or a student. When we look at actors, we can see how they portray these different statuses in their roles. When we understand the roles, we can take the perspective of others, just like actors do, and we can predict the actions of other people because we know who they are. We know their status. We will judge the role performance of others. When they are not performing appropriately, we will provide the individual with sanctions. When we approve of the role performance, an individual may become a role model for us. For example, when I became a professor, I was judging the role performance of all the professors and all the teachers I had throughout my years of being educated. And I picked those behaviors I admired in my professors. And that created who I am and how I look at being a professor. Socialization into our roles can create a number of misunderstandings because we assume our roles are appropriate in the right way and we act out of habit. And I want to give you an example of this. I was in Barbados, and one of the things that we like about Barbados is their Barbadian rum. And we like to have our rum with Coca-Cola. We couldn't find any Coca-Cola within the hotel, so we decided to set out and purchase, a 6-pack of Coca-Cola. And we got to walking and we went into several places that we thought might have Coca-Cola. And we were on the what I refer to as the tourist path. And so we decided, well, we have to find a supermarket. So we got off the tourist path and we went into one, and it was very small, but it had a good amount of stuff in it, and we found our Coca-Cola. So we pick up a 6-pack of Coca-Cola and we take it out up to the checkout counter. There was a woman ahead of us. She had her basket on the conveyor belt, and then she walked away from it. And she came back. We waited. We thought, oh, well, she just forgot one thing. She came back and put it in her basket. Well, then she left again. And so we assumed that instead of carrying the basket around the store, she didn't want to carry it, and so she was bringing up the items to her basket. So we went ahead of her in line and started to check out. And when she came back to deposit the next item in her basket, she got pretty angry with us. And we were acting out of habit from what we were familiar with as our role as a customer in a grocery store. We assumed that she was still shopping and that she would not mind. We went ahead of her in line. We violated a courtesy. We cut in front of her in line, and we were very rude. And we should have asked permission to go in front of her in that line. So something as simple as being a consumer or a customer can create cultural misunderstandings if the roles associated within those environments are different. The expectations for behavior were different in Barbados than they were here in the United States. Try to imagine who you will likely to interact with and try to research the culturally defined roles for those ascribed and achieved statuses. When we're aware of the statuses and roles, it can help us to avoid misunderstandings. Understanding these two key concepts is critical for successful interactions with others. The next thing that I want to do is take a look at some specific statuses and roles. Our next video, we're going to look at some of the statuses and roles associated with the family. Okay, we'll see you soon.